Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava and this is Speedplay Netherlands number 22. We left off in a very successful war against the French, who have essentially betrayed our alliance, and a massive coalition in the east, led primarily by the Ottomans, who I go ahead and see what would happen if we split in half. We could actually do that for 100% war score. We're not going to actually do that though, instead we're going to focus on invading Poland first, and then just roving in through Northern Europe. This is for a few reasons. Mainly the enemy armies are all up here, as their attack just proves. We do win that battle, and quite frankly, I'm not sure what has changed. Our armies used to be just completely terrible, but now we are just dominating the Ottomans and the various allies. We get an event that increases revolt risk across all of the occupied provinces, which is terrible for France. Back on the Eastern Front, though, our plan is essentially to just keep our armies as close together as possible so they can reinforce in case attacks like that occur, which we go ahead and just quickly win. From there, we pull our armies back to where they can reinforce and pick off straggling small groups of enemies. Ultimately, I'm pretty sure that as long as we keep our armies where they can reinforce one another, we don't have to worry about any enemy doom stacks basically killing all of our men and defeating us. Now, that may not prove to be true. At any rate, that's the plan, and we are doing very well. The Muscovites are also absorbing quite a bit of damage over in the far east, and we're able to deal with rebels with one of our several stacks. Ideally, we won't have to test the theory, however, a large enemy force is coming up to challenge us, and essentially the goal now is going to be to just keep our forces as tightly packed and hopefully not suffering very much attrition. We managed to piece out one of France's allies, so hopefully we'll be able to end that war pretty soon, and the Ottomans attack. Luckily our forces reinforce. The battle is rather even. Luckily our client state reinforces, they keep reinforcing, but we win the battle, and I'm almost certain that's going to be the largest battle, if not in this game, then at least in this war. Meanwhile, the French Revolution has begun. We can peace out with them right now. I'm not going to do that though, as we'll become highly overextended. We need to be completely at peace when we take any lands, which means both of these peace deals are going to have to happen essentially at the same time. Or at the very least, what we may be able to do is just feed all of the lands that we take in the coalition war to our client states, and then fight back against France and defeat all of their rebels and re-seize control of their country, which is probably the more likely course of action, as we don't have enough troops to roam all the way back to the west and still win in the east. Now, I may be being overly conservative with our armies, however, the Ottomans have been consistently roving around with very large stacks, and I think it's much better to play this conservatively. Meanwhile, we did lose a major naval engagement. That's mainly because I didn't realize we had 30 heavy ships just doing nothing. If I had brought those along with the rest of the Navy, we would have almost certainly won. We did lose a significant battle, being stack wiped in the process. That is entirely because I failed to play it conservatively in the north. We do win a naval battle, and unfortunately our client state also suffers a significant defeat, which is a significant setback. We win again in the south. It looks as though that's not going to be an issue. Our navy appears to be doing very well. Now it's just a matter of not losing ground in the north. Now that Ottoman attack is fantastic news. We just devastated, and now we can begin to move forward once again. Sweden gets a large series of rebellions. Unfortunately, we can't really take care of that at the moment, as we are being attacked once again. Hopefully we'll be able to reinforce in time, although it doesn't look entirely likely. So what we do is we peace out, and now we have all the armies we need. We fed all of the lands that we took to our German client state, and we're going to just build a massive mercenaries and retake the French capital and countryside. France has become a revolutionary republic, which is a bit of a bother, in part because I was hoping to give a new French client state their tricolor. However, nothing's going to stop us from doing that anyway, and ultimately the goal with our new French client state is to completely secure that region. So we're basically going to have to kick this France out of Europe in the long run. Whether or not we're going to succeed is still up in the air, but that's essentially the goal. Now, I haven't fought a revolutionary republic or a target of the revolution since one of the very earliest patches. Back then, all you had to do to defeat the revolution was occupy their capital for a certain amount of time. Now, I'm not sure if that is still the case or what the prerequisites are, as quite frankly I didn't expect to be fighting the French Republic, and therefore didn't look up how to actually defeat it permanently. Now, since we are ourselves a republic, it may be that we just don't get the option, or it may be that in a recent patch the conditions were changed and it isn't just merely occupying their capital. I did attempt to look in the peace deal and see if there was an option for ending the revolution, but I didn't find anything similar to that. Now, with that all said and done, I more or less give up on toppling the French Republic and send our forces over to the east to deal with Bohemia. We do go ahead and make this peace deal, splitting France in half. We are incredibly overextended, so we go ahead and feed all of our Italian cultured provinces to our Italian client state, and we go ahead and create our new competitor French Republic, which will hopefully out French Republic, the French Revolutionary Republic. Now, whether or not that's going to work kind of remains to be seen. However, I have a very good feeling about their ability to do this. I'm not entirely sure what the borders will end up looking like at the very end. Ideally, we will directly control Paris. However, I can't imagine we're going to have very many admin points in the near future. We do go ahead and get that all sorted out. We begin coring a few of the provinces we've taken, and we don't even have enough admin points to core all of our conquests in that last war. So realistically, we may not be able to press to Paris. That is an incredibly long-term goal anyway, though, so it doesn't really matter at this point. Now, I do notice Bohemia is allied to the Livonian Order, which itself has allies in the Teutonic Order and Austria. Now, that is not entirely a problem. I do go ahead and look if we can get any decisions or any sort of focuses. There aren't really any great ones. Now, we do go ahead and if we declare war on the Livonian Order, calling in Bohemia as a co-belligerent, we'll be able to peace out Bohemia, getting 100% war score like we would have otherwise, but we also get to bring in Austria, the Teutonic Order, and we don't have to worry about delaying our peace with Bohemia. The main issue is that if we declared war on Bohemia and called the Livonian Order in as a co-belligerent, we would be forced to keep Bohemia into the war until we were ready to make peace with the entire alliance group. Since the Livonian Order, the farthest country away from us, is the war leader, we're able to just pick off their allies one after another, mainly focusing on Bohemia. Now, the main reason we're attacking Bohemia right now isn't just to annex them. The main reason we're attacking Bohemia is because of their Czech traditions, and luckily we win a battle against the Austrians, which means that this is going to be a rather straightforward war of occupation. Going back to my point, however, Czech traditions means that it is 50% more expensive to core provinces that Bohemia has cores on. You see, it's all of those lands in our German client kingdom, or client state. Now, the reason we're going to get rid of all of those cores is because the cost of coring those provinces is also included in the cost of diplomatically annexing this client state. Now that we've gotten rid of all of those cores, it should be significantly cheaper for us to integrate our German client state. And the reason for this is essentially, I don't want to have a client state there. I'd much rather have that be directly incorporated in our country. I may eventually end up doing the same for our Czech Republic client state, although we won't be able to get rid of that plus 50% coring cost, so it may be better to just leave them nominally independent. Ultimately, though, with that secure, as soon as we're able to make this peace deal, we'll be able to start integrating our German client state at a significantly cheaper price than we would have otherwise. We also, importantly, managed to release all of the remaining Bohemian German territories, which means hopefully they no longer have cores on them. I forgot to actually check on that. However, if they no longer have those cores, we'll be able to just annex those two states without the additional 50% cost. And once we do that and integrate our German client state, as well as clean up the borders in the north, which we're doing right now, we should be able to get the entire German region under our direct control. Or at the very least, everything that was in World War I Germany. We are attacked, and the battle doesn't go our way in the beginning, however we do win, and ultimately the war continues to be straightforward. So ultimately our goal is to take direct control over all of the areas of World War I Germany, as well as a decent part of Austria. In fact, we even take Vienna in this war just now. So if we are actually taking over Austria, our Bohemian or Czech client state is going to be a bit of a nuisance, just in the sense that it'll make the borders look kind of terrible, so we may end up having to integrate them just for that. I'm not sure if that will actually be feasible. At any rate, my goal for this right now is to get a direct land connection from our Northern European holdings to our Baltic coast holdings. And it looks as though we're actually going to be able to do that, which is fantastic. We go ahead and begin transferring control over those provinces to our German client state, and we go ahead and just get 100% war score. Now, we will end up being overextended, or we'll end up making our German client state overextended, so we're going to wait a couple months, even though we can get this peace deal, just to get us within that margin. Now, I didn't actually do the math to see if our German client state will become overextended or not. However, at this point we have a very significant number of forces in the area, and I'm not too concerned. We do go ahead and attempt to get a diplomatic reputation advisor, ideally one that's level 3, although that may not be entirely possible. And we begin to integrate our German client state. Now, they do have a lot of areas uncored. We do manage to get a diplomatic reputation advisor, although level 1, so I keep trying to get a higher level one. And anyway, our German client state has a lot of non-cored provinces. It will take until 1791 at the earliest to integrate them, though, which is more than enough time for them to core those provinces, and maybe even a few more if we decide to be a bit greedy. At any rate, for the first time in a long time, we are in a state of general peace throughout Europe, with truces on essentially every single one of our neighbors. So the future is completely opened for the Netherlands and our client empires. We'll see where the future lies in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.